If you'd like to sponsor a TSP television broadcast, we've got a patron page for that. Sponsorships start at just $1 a month. Visit patreon.com/TSP television and make a pledge for premier Twin Cities sports coverage.
And we welcome you to Ponies Stadium for high school soccer. Mike Peden here, and we have a doubleheader for the Stillwater boys and girls. It's the home opener for the Stillwater girls team. They host the Rosemount Irish. Stillwater at 2-0-1, picked up a couple of wins on the road against Moorhead and Anoka, and then played to a draw with Eden Prairie. Rosemount coming in at 2-2. They started the year with a pair of 3-0 wins on the road at Northfield and Duluth East, and then lost 6-0 to Andover at a Duluth East tournament, and then 2-1 against Eastridge a couple of days ago. Rosemount will wear the white jersey, Stillwater wearing the black. It's early part of the season, and we've got a pair of teams that have some experienced midfielders and defensemen, or defensewomen, and a rather youthful offense. And with a lot of young forwards and midfielders, in the case of Stillwater, Mike Huber, the head coach, told me it's limited the number of scoring opportunities early, but their defense, with their experience, proving quite strong. Couldn't ask for better weather here at Ponies Stadium. We've got a little bit of a wind. That will subside as the evening moves along. But sunny skies, comfortable dew points should make for an exciting contest here. Looking at the two teams at a glance, for Rosemount, Kenzie Jacobson and Madison Dye have picked up a pair of goals for the Irish. And what has been an up and down start to the season so far. Stillwater, they started the year with a 4-0 win over Moorhead, then a 2-0 win over Anoka, and then, as we noted, a scoreless draw with Eden Prairie. Lexi Huber and Megan Howard both have 2 goals each. Huber has already matched her stat total from last season, 2 goals and 2 assists. Played a key role in the win over Moorhead, picking up a goal and 2 assists there, and then 1 goal against Anoka. And as you may have noticed, in the case of Stillwater, they have yet to allow a goal, if you've been paying attention and know your math. And a lot of that has to do with the defense, as we noted, a lot of experience in the backfield. And Mike Huber told me because of that, 1 goal may be all they need to win some games this year compared to prior games where they needed a few more tallies on the board. And a lot of credit goes to Evie Cohn, who will be going to Minnesota State Mankato. Last year allowed a few goals that she wanted to have back, but returned with focus and improved in a technical aspect. So we'll get names and numbers as we move along. As you know, unlimited substitutions in prep soccer.
shots of him or interview him, or how do you want that?
Just a few B-roll shots. He was over by the PACs. You might want to ask him time to Ricky Michael. Shorter than both of us, but white shirt and khakis. So I'd say if he's here, just get some shots of him for a few minutes, and then I'd say just focus on the game after that.
Okay. So, anything game-wise that you're looking for?
Not specifically, so I'll probably just clip some stuff for highlights. So I just say just something from field level. Just make sure the yellow-red line that's the boundary.
Yeah.
So just don't go in between the yellow lines.
Yeah. Continuous or just sporadic?
I'd say when you're shooting the game, just go continuously. Because I can integrate that into the broadcast.
Exactly, that's the reason why I asked.
So,
All right.
well, have fun.
I will do.
Underway here at Ponies Stadium. 40-minute halves. No stoppage time. The clock will stop for a goal, an injury, or a major foul, one that would warrant a yellow or a red. The keepers, Evie Cohn, we noted for Stillwater, and Daniel Knievel. Stillwater couldn't keep that in play as the line judge throws up the flag. Here's Sydney Essler for the throw-in. Essler scored a perfect 36 on her ACT. In case you're wondering, Evie Cohn wearing the baby blue kit, and Daniel Knievel wearing the pink, but we're at the Stillwater end. Rosemount trying to mount an attack, and Stillwater hammers it away to get the first clearance. Here's Marissa Bonilla looking to move the ball up midfield, but we're staying at midfield. Stillwater ranked fourth, or I should say seventh, in the Class 2A rankings in the first week of the year. Historically, they have done well. Fell to Eastridge in the section semifinals in 4AA last year. Well, Knievel gets her first touch. And Rosemount's throw-in goes behind the Stillwater net. So a goal kick is forthcoming. Well, not a bad start to the year if you're the Ponies. 3 games, 3 clean sheets, 2-0-1 as we noted because of the scoreless draw with Eden Prairie. And in the regular season, regardless of the level, games will end in draws. Stillwater looking for their first attack. Scramble for the ball. Ends up going behind one of the Stillwater players and is picked up by number 16, Lexi Huber. That's a name you're likely going to hear a lot of. Megan Howard, another one. They take their first shot at Knievel, but the ball goes off the mark. Mike Huber, the head coach, hopes Megan Howard will be one of the leading scorers this year. Megan Howard, the senior forward. Rosemount looking to mount a charge. And our first corner.
Number 16, Sydney Essler with the corner kick for the Irish.
Sydney Essler, as we noted, 36 on the ACT. That's a perfect score. Corner goes a little far, but Rosemount will hang on to it as Stillwater got the header out of bounds. But it will be a throw-in this time. Corners and set pieces, as you know, always a prime opportunity for a scoring chance. So Essler scampers from one end of the field to the other for the throw-in. Read well by the Stillwater defense. Essler staying with it. Stillwater looking for a clearance, and they'll get one. And the ball will stay with the Ponies. This will be their first chance to attack. And it wasn't much of one. They couldn't keep the ball in bounds.
Direct kick for the Irish on the Stillwater foul.
A foul was actually called, so free kick awarded to the Irish. In either case, that ends the Stillwater threat momentarily. A little bit of a push involving Olivia Kramer and number 15, Naya Dobier. That was Hallie Peterson. Hallie going to Bemidji State next year. When she's not playing soccer, she raises money for youth hunger programs for the United Way. Hasn't tallied a goal or an assist yet, but she will be the centerpiece of set pieces. And she can win a lot of air balls. That could be crucial as the season moves along for the Ponies. Dara Andringa making a play there. There's Julia Shorn. And she sends the ball out of bounds. Sometimes you'll see teams do that. Not so much worried about possession, but preventing their opponent from an attack. Here's Kramer. Nowhere to go. Once again, Stillwater deflecting that one out of bounds. And that's just for the sole purpose of allowing their defense time to set up. Megan Howard with the read. Punches the ball ahead to Sophie Steble, number 21. Steble with the centering pass. Just off the mark. Here's Lexi Huber, but ball gets in front of her and Rosemount taps it out. Something that Rosemount will contend with and a lot of schools in the South Suburban do. Switching from grass to turf, and that's a header by Sydney Essler to get it out of the danger zone, but in doing so, she concedes a corner kick to the Ponies. So We'll get a look at our first set piece on Stillwater's end.
Stillwater corner kick number 10, Abby Beach.
Abby Bajan with the corner. Header! It was close, but Kniefel got in there for the stop. Stillwater looking to win that possession battle. And the ball will go out of bounds and head Rosemount's way. First full week of the school year for the Stillwater Ponies. It's the first home game of the year for the Stillwater girls soccer team. As we noted, they started the year with 3 road games. Gave them a lot of opportunities for team bonding. As we noted, the first game of the year all the way up in Moorhead. They spent a night up there. The second game, Anoka, and getting tripped up. And a foul was called, I believe. So Marisa Bonilla making a play, and okay, no foul was called. It will be ruled a corner. So here is Abby Bajan. Ball gets behind everybody. And Callie Taverna has to go back to retrieve it. That's actually Hallie Peterson. My apologies for lack of narration here. Had a root canal procedure a couple of days ago and still a little sore. But 13 minutes has elapsed. And we are still looking for the first tally of the evening. Stillwater, the throw-in off the mark. Bonilla couldn't catch up to it in time. Goal kick coming for the Irish. Foul is called.
Direct kick for Rosemount on the Stillwater handball.
And that foul is the handball variety. But Stillwater winning the possession battle early. Rosemount had a couple of early chances. And making the read there is Naya Dobier. Throwing on the near side. That's Lexi Vixavong, number 6. And Rosemount hands it right to Stillwater. Back to Dobier. Rosemount takes a shot from midfield. And picking it up, Rosemount with the first big scoring chance. Shot goes wide right.
Rosemount, substitution number 10, Sarah Enoch.
Sarah
Stillwater
Enoch
substitutions,
may have been,
number 3, Kelly Terverna.
that may have been Enoch there who took the first shot, the first real scoring opportunity of this game.
CJ Fredko, number 19, Maya Notch.
But substitutions coming in bunches here, as you know, unlimited at the high school level.
You guys can go ahead and run right in front of me. That's fine.
Rosemount playing on their heels. There's number 17, CJ Fredkove. Ball will go to Stillwater. Fredkove, a member of the state champion ski team from last year. One of the 5 state championships won by the Ponies. Gymnastics and baseball, softball among the others. Rosemount gets the clearance. That's Julia Shorn who sends it back into Stillwater territory. Nice play by Enox. Rosemount looking for a counter. Haley Nelson was in trouble, but not for long.
Rosemount substitution number 4, Cameron Runt, Chindiconi.
Play stopped momentarily for a Rosemount substitution. Sydney Essler will throw it in. The sub is Cameron Run Chindicone, number 4. The throw in almost found her target, Alexis Orlando, and ends up kicking the ball over the net. So Rosemount with a couple of scoring chances early. Haven't been able to put the ball in net, but Evie Cohn has been sensational in the first 3 games. 16 shots have come her way. None have gotten through. CJ Fredkove was looking for it. Sydney Essler bats it away. Keeps it away from the end line, so it will just be a throw-in for the Ponies. But well within scoring range. Looking at Ponies Stadium. We'll be here a few more times throughout the year. In fact, next Tuesday, the day after Labor Day, Stillwater has another big opponent on their schedule. Last year's Class A state champion, Matamidi. A collision is called, and that will be a foul against Stillwater. Callie Taverna led with a little bit of a push-off.
Rosemount, direct kick on a Stillwater push. Here's
Here's Fredkove. along the far side. And this will be another throw-in. One corner each for both sides. And the winds are picking up a little bit. This Stillwater team does have at least one Division I recruit among their ranks, and that's Dara Andringa Jr., but she has verbaled to play collegiately at Wisconsin. Her mother is a yoga instructor, and Andringa has also taken up teaching yoga. One way to stay limber, especially in a sport that requires a high level of stamina, endurance, and flexibility. We remain scoreless. Rosemount looking to put something together here. Again, Stillwater doing a good job reading passes. To force a change of possession. At the very least, they have denied Rosemount any odd man opportunities. And again, you see another defensive strategy there, conceding the possession opportunity to give the defense time to form up. So Sydney Essler getting a lot of throw-ins under her belt. And that went off of Dobier, so Rosemount will get their second corner of the game. And Essler will line it up.
Rosemount, corner kick, number 16, Sydney Essler.
Essler, one of the seniors. And that corner gets behind. And we're going to have another one. Haley Nelson tried to get a grip on it, couldn't do so. So Sydney Essler will go back and do it again. A lot of the senior members of this team are involved in the National Honor Society, Student Council, and DECA, among others. Essler from the far side this time, and Stillwater bats that one away. Essler has yet to score this season. And we're through 20 minutes of play. Still no score. Goal kick now for the Ponies. A top 10 team in Class 2A. And we noted a big match with Matamidi. It may not help them in the QRF rankings, although in Section 4AA, it's a coach's vote anyway. But Matamidi, the defending state champion in Class A, and they're off to a strong start this year. Eastridge figures to be another big game. That's on September 25th. We'll have live coverage on Valley Access channels on September 13th when they host Roseville, and then White Bear Lake. The Bears, both the boys and girls, have proven to be solid contenders, and so is Mounds View. And then a team that makes its way to state seemingly every year, Lakeville North. They'll come here September 22nd. That should be another key matchup. Rosemount. That's going to be a foul on the Ponies. And Rosemount will get a free kick in striking distance. Stillwater, the more physical team. They've been bitten a few times, though, on foul calls. And it looks like Julia Shorn. No, she's out in the scrum up front. But here comes the free kick, and that goes wide left. So another harmless result after a scoring opportunity on the part of the Irish. That's Sydney Essler, of course. Yes, Sydney Essler is going to be the person on free kicks, corners, throw-ins. She does it all for this Rosemount team.
Grace Foss.
Throw in for the Ponies. Stillwater tried to set up a run there. Couldn't quite do so, but a throw-in coming up. And Grace Foss wasting little time trying to catch Rosemount off guard. Rosemount takes over. That's Amber Johnson, who is also a sprinter on the track team, intervening on a potential Stillwater play. But another throw-in for the Ponies. That one misread. That allowed Johnson to swoop in for another touch. And Stillwater puts a stop to that. That's Grace Foss making the play defensively. Taverna in trouble.
Irish substitution, number 7, Kenzie Jacobson.
Kenzie Jacobson will make her way in for Jaden Scholler as Rosemount awaits the throw-in. And another handball call on the Ponies. Well, Stillwater's certainly not lacking in initiative. Huber's hoping the younger contingent will get more confident as the season moves along. He wants to see more creativity for scoring opportunities. And it's a group, at least among the front lines, that doesn't have a lot of familiarity at the varsity level. You know, Lexi Huber, the coach's daughter, just a sophomore. Needed some time to adjust to the varsity level competition. And Megan Howard, who we discussed earlier, also matched her scoring total from last year with 2 goals. And Stillwater making a few subs. Sophie Steble among them, Marisa Bonilla. So a significant change there. Again, with unlimited substitutions, you can make those line changes, if you will, as opposed to the pros, where you're only allowed 3 subs a game. And got a little fun story, actually, involving the old days of soccer. Mike's been around for a long time. 7 years as the coach at Stillwater, 14 as the boys coach for Cretin-Durham Hall. Played collegiately at Wisconsin, and he told me the tale of a match with UCLA in the days where you played until there was a winner. And he recalled that game going to 6 overtimes and everyone dropping dead, proverbially speaking. These days, that is no longer the case with the penalty kicks for playoffs and regular season games ending in draws. Under 10 minutes to play in the first half. A match that, or a half that has seen Rosemount get a couple of chances as Hallie Peterson plays defense, plays more of a blocking role to keep Rosemount from sneaking in there. Rosemount with a couple of chances, neither have found the net. Stillwater, finesse has been their weak point. They've been called for a few more handballs and fouls. But a top 10 team hosting a team that is trying to play spoilers to an extent in Rosemount. And it's been a pretty even match. Stillwater may be winning a few more possession battles, but unable to mount a serious threat. As we know, to Rosemount in the South Suburban Conference, so having to mix between grass and turf fields. And I was talking with a couple of the staffers, and the feeling is with Rosemount is if they got a turf field, then neighboring schools, including Eastview and Apple Valley, would want the same. They still use grass. So obviously that changes the speed and strategy in the game, because the turf field is much faster, much more quick than a grass field. And in the older days, when the Metrodome was the host site for the state soccer tournament, that turf, highly bouncy, extremely bouncy. Of course, there are plenty of stories from those days. Of course, if you go to state these days, you get to play at the site that replaced the Metrodome, US Bank Stadium. 6 minutes left in the first half, and we remain scoreless. Sydney Essler preparing for another throw-in. Stillwater couldn't read the pass. Bonilla didn't know the ball was coming her way. So Rosemount will hang on to it on the throw-in. Mike Huber feels set plays will be the best chance to create scoring opportunities for Stillwater. He would also like to see the midfielders shoot from distance. Stillwater hasn't really taken a shot at the net. They had a corner that was close. That's about it. And another throw-in coming up for the Ponies. Not before substitution. Lexi Huber will return to the field, replacing Abby Bajan. Grace Foss dumps it. And Rosemount sends the ball up in the air. Huber chasing it down. Tried to hook it, and that will bounce harmlessly. Goal kick coming up for Rosemount. As we noted, this one corner that was pretty close at the net, but that's about it. Daniel Kniefel hasn't had much to worry about on this side. There's a shot from deep right to Kniefel. Dara Andringa with the first shot on goal. And it didn't do a whole lot to move Kniefel from her position, but I'll take that as an encouraging sign if you're Mike Huber, as we had said, looking to shoot from distance. Andringa, a midfielder, and at the very least, you get a shot on net and make the keeper think a little bit more. Stays Stillwater ball. They still have time to develop a potential play as Rosemount continues to bat the ball away. That was Mackenzie Anderson. And Stillwater getting some throw-ins and inching closer to the net. And we'll try again. Steble juking defenders, although couldn't get the ball away from Mackenzie Anderson. So Rosemount happy to kill clock by making Stillwater throw in, and that throw a little too strong. Goal kick for the Irish with just over a minute and a half to play before the halftime break. Stillwater picking the ball away. Pickpocketing the ball, Haley Nelson with the poke.
Reminder, concession stand is open. For your dining pleasure, they have hot dogs, pizza, chips, ice cold soda, ice cold water, popcorn, candy.
Stuck at midfield. 30 seconds to go. Rosemount tried to get the point person. Looks like Sarah Enox, but the ball sailed too far. Stillwater with a throw-in, but looks like we're going to run out of time before either team has a chance to score. 10 seconds. Throw-in. And that will stay in midfield. So the first half, a rather uneventful one. Stillwater getting a shot on goal. Rosemount with a couple of shots, neither found the net. And a few corners, but an even first half. We remain scoreless, 0-0. As Stillwater hopes to continue their unbeaten start. Rosemount hoping to knock off a top 10 team. We'll take a quick break and bring you the second half. You're watching high school girls soccer. Stillwater and Rosemount even at 0.
If you'd like to sponsor a DSB television broadcast, we've got a Patreon page for that. Sponsorships start at just $1 a month. Visit patreon.com/GSB television and make a pledge for premier Twin Cities sports coverage.
Mike Beaton back here unofficially. Stillwater 2 shots on goal, Rosemount 1, but the score is none. 0-0, 0-0 for the soccer buffs. As we get ready to start the second half, it's the home opener for the Stillwater girls soccer team. They played their first 3 matches on the road. They have 7 road matches. So they're going to make themselves at home. Tell me if you haven't heard that one before. Quite a bit for the remainder of the season. Their longest homestand are a pair of 3-game homestands with Roseville, Duluth East, and Forest Lake, and then Mounds View, Burnsville, and White Bear Lake. Rosemount 3 corners, Stillwater 2, and then fouls. Stillwater with 6, Rosemount with none in the first half.
Walk in front of me. No, seriously. You're part of the game.
Stillwater, direct kick on the tripping foul of the Irish.
And Stillwater picks up their 7th foul just a moment ago, but it's the Ponies on a rally here. Huber over the nets. That didn't quite find the net, but that may have been the best scoring chance for the Ponies thus far. And a little bit of a push. That's going to send the ball right back to the Ponies. Evelyn Floor with the free kick. Just outside scoring range, so she might need to lead someone on this play. Here comes the kick. Play at the net. Kniefel wins it. So Daniel Kniefel, the junior keeper, having to stay on alert in the early going of the second half. If you're wondering if the score remains tied, we'll play 2 5-minute overtimes. And in the regular season, there are no golden goals. That changes, of course, in the postseason. Here's Dara Andringa. Stillwater on the move again. Kniefel with the dive. So a dribbler. Kniefel having to make a couple of saves here. Or a couple of stops at least. Evelyn Floor intercepts. Here's Marisa Bonilla. She has a goal. Would love to add another one. And we'll have to wait a little longer for that. Evelyn Floor, first-year starter, throwing it in. also on the track team. She'll be the primary option on set plays from a distance. A solid defender. Won't rack up the numbers, but making a couple of plays there. And we see Stillwater far more aggressive offensively than the first half. Sarah Charbonneau almost lost her footing. And the ball will bounce into the hands of Stillwater. Floor on the throw-in. Was looking for Sophie Stebley. The ball gets underneath her legs. And Rosemount takes over at midfield. Trying to lead it for Sarah Enox. It's a foot race. A little bit of a push, nothing called. Enox catches up to it. Tries a centering pass. And a big, crucial clearance by Hallie Peterson. Jaden Scholler was lining up her target. Here's Jacobson. A one-hopper. And Evie Cohn gets the stop. Now, Evie Cohn, we noted her improvement, her development this year, and a lot of that can be attributed to Stillwater's athletic director, Ricky Michael. Ricky having plenty of soccer experience. Played soccer and baseball here as a student at Stillwater many years ago. So while Mike Huber would work with the position players, Ricky Michael would spend an hour with her and also spend an hour with the boys team. And when Michael proposed assistance, Mike Huber thought he was joking, but he wasn't. And as a result, Cohn has won more balls in the air, doing a better job with long shots, rebounds, and diving. We haven't had a chance to see much of that yet, just because it's been a relatively uneventful game up until recently, with Stillwater getting a couple of chances on net. And Stillwater with a deep kick. Stebley trying to make a play for it. She could not get past Amber Johnson. Abby Bajan wins the scrum. And a goal kick for the Irish. Irish have dropped their last two games. Stillwater remains unbeaten. 2 wins and a draw. Getting a scoreless draw with Eden Prairie. Wayzata, the top-ranked team in both boys and girls in Class 2A. Nothing called there, so a goal kick for the Ponies. Following the collision with Floor and what looks to be Sarah Charbonneau. The boys' game will follow this one. The boys hosting Hudson, an interstate rivalry. Kniefel wins the dive. I should say Combe wins the dive. Rosemount was offside anyway. But Evie Cohn making a strong defensive stance there. Offside the call, so an indirect free kick. If you're wondering the difference, an indirect free kick versus a direct one, an indirect free kick cannot be used as a scoring chance, although with an offside call, that usually isn't a problem anyway. Rosemount throwing it in. Sydney Essler, the go-to option. Floor whiffs it. Charbonneau picks it up. It will stay with Rosemount, so Essler will get to throw it in again. Essler wearing number 16. Rosemount almost had a chance on the backside. The ball got past Kenzie Jacobson. And Dringa. Here's Steble. Stillwater brings the ball to midfield. Rosemount takes over. Big evening for Stillwater Athletics, boys and girls soccer with their first doubleheader of the year. And the football team going on the road to Blaine. Rosemount throwing forthcoming. And you know who will do the honors, Sydney Essler. A collision. And this will be a corner.
Irish corner kick number 16, Sydney Essler.
Fourth corner of the game for the Irish. Rosemount was able to get a touch on it, but it bounces harmlessly out of bounds. Corners, set pieces are often great scoring chances, but like with anything else in this sport, the passes, the timing has to be on point to set up a significant chance. Cohn will catch up to it and scoop it up, denying Enox a chance to knock it in. Cohn, when she's not playing soccer, does a lot of work with special education students at the school, along with Megan Howard. Mike Huber considers Cohn to be a potential All-State candidate. We'll see what happens as the season moves along. And Stillwater filled with several crossover athletes. Lexi Huber, one of them, she plays on the hockey team. Grace Foss is another hockey crossover. Callie Taverna plays on the golf team. Evelyn Floor takes part in track, and we mentioned Fred Cove, part of the ski team. Marissa Bonilla, another hockey crossover. Soccer and hockey and lacrosse, you get quite a few crossovers in those sports. And Maya Notch, we haven't heard much of her today. She wears number 19. This I'm going to have to find more about. According to the coach, Maya rides and drives horses. So a freshman who is an apparent horse whisperer. Goal kick coming up for the Irish. several college recruits among that Stillwater roster as well. Cone going to MSU Mankato, Andringa to Wisconsin. Bayesian will go to MSU Mankato. And Hallie Peterson is going to Bemidji State. And Allie Kratzke, the backup keeper, hasn't committed to a college yet, but she started a club at Stillwater Area High School that raises money for underprivileged kids to attend school. We'll have to get a few more details on that as the season moves along. Ooh, Cone couldn't catch up to it. Peterson, with a pass to the keeper to reset the defense, and instead Stillwater concedes a corner. And Hallie Peterson, three-year starter, phenomenal in the air. They'll try to feed her the ball to set up the offense, and she gave Rosemount a gift. Let's see if they can do something with it as Usler puts the ball in play. Pass goes wide. Stillwater clears it. And Anderson tacks the ball out of bounds. Sun's starting to set here. The wind hasn't settled down yet. Next time I'm going to bring tape. And that ball ends up into the hands of one of our camera operators, Jeff Williams. Floor with a throw-in, but nobody was there. Floor was in a hurry to get the ball in play, and her fellow teammates didn't make the proper read, but they'll try again. Stillwater keeping the ball in bounds. And we're going Rosemount's direction. And on the part of Cone, most goalkeepers don't get a lot of individual instruction because, they're trained to do one thing and one thing only, and that's stop the ball from crossing the goal line. And while Cone had a solid season a year ago, a save percentage of 85, there were a few goals she wanted to have back. A free kick coming up for the Irish. And Haley Nelson there for the deflection. Nelson also coaches youth leagues in soccer and volunteers with younger kids at a local church here in the Stillwater area, and there are plenty of them around.
Ponies substitution number 13, Rachel Folden.
Here's Rachel Folden making her first appearance.
Substitution.
Folden, a junior defender.
Olivia Kramer.
She's another athlete who helps kids in the special education program here at Stillwater. Stillwater awaiting a free kick. The referee's sorting something out. Daubier with the throw in. That shot goes over the crossbar. That came from Lexi Huber. She's had a couple of chances. Both have come a little high. We have a rather young fan who seems to enjoy running up and down the bleachers. Kniefel, sensing trouble, keeps the ball away from Bonilla and sends it out of bounds. We'll concede the throw-in, but give the Rosemount defense a chance to set up. And Bonilla may have gotten a bit of a push from Essler. But another throw-in coming up for Folden. Nice play by Abby Bajan, getting the deflection off of Julia Shorn to give the Ponies a corner. Just their third. Bajan and Andringa consider great setup options. Bajan. Oh, that was close. Rosemount may have gotten a piece of it. Last touch by the Ponies, so that ends the threat, but that was close. But we play on. As time winds down, again, if we remain scoreless, we'll have 2 5-minute overtime sessions to settle this. Folden keeps the ball in the field of play and takes a swipe at Kniefel, who makes the save. A strong defensive game from both sides. Part of that may be attributed to the lack of experience among the forwards, the attackers. But the defense holding serve. We've seen some great defensive plays. Stillwater will give up a corner rather than allow a potential odd man situation. So Sydney Essler will line up for her 6th corner kick of the match. And we mentioned the multi-sport athletes on Stillwater. Rosemount, Amber Johnson, a sprinter, and Rose Sieve, a hurdler. Both are captains on the track team. Essler. Ooh, had a nice hook to it. And the referee said Stillwater touched it. Tough to tell from here, but he said a Stillwater player made contact, and Well, now he has changed the call. Not a bad corner on the part of Essler. Almost an Olympico. But another harmless corner kick on the part of the Ponies. Rosemount with 6 corners and nothing doing. We've got contact between Alexis Orlando and Dara Andringa. Dara Andringa wins the ball. Andringa looking to lead it to Marisa Bonilla, but intercepting the pass was Essler.
Irish substitution number 4, Cameron Run, Chindicone.
Rosemount substitution. That will eat up a little more clock as Essler awaits the throw-in. Have to imagine it's difficult to an extent if you're a team that still plays on a grass field because there isn't a lot of consistency between grass and turf. Grass, a slower surface, of course. Turf, you can move a little more speedily. Kanifa will catch up to it. Lines up for the kick. Well-placed kick, ends up in the midfield. Rosemount trying to set up an attack, but Cone sends it the other way. Surprised she didn't try to scoop it up and give herself some space there. Rosemount may have a chance here. Here's Sarah Enox, and Andringa prevents that chance from occurring.
Ponies substitution number 19.
Maya Notch back on the pitch.
Number 7, Kenzie Jacobson.
It's been a whole lot of nothing here at Ponies Stadium. A few scoring chances sprinkled in, but neither team able to find a bevy of openings or find too many quality chances here. And there is a shot from midfield by Andringa. That's something Mike Huber wants more of out of the midfielders. It goes wide right, but well, Mike Huber will take that. As we close in toward the end of the second half, 11:35 and counting. Stillwater cannot keep it in bounds, so a throw-in. And Essler was right there, so she won't have to go too far. Abby Bajan read the throw-in well, but there was no one to get to on the header. Bajan. That's not Bajan. That was Notch who tried to field it. Ball landed just in front of her. Couldn't get a clean grip on it. Seen Stillwater look like they want to get something developed offensively. They've had a couple shots on net, a few close to the net, but that's about it. And that's going to be a throw-in for the Ponies after Essler and Bonilla fell on top of each other. And we're going back to Rosemount's direction. Rosemount has been feast or famine, a pair of 3-0 wins, a 6-0 loss to Andover, one of the top contenders in Class 2A, and then a 2-1 loss to Eastridge. The Raptors fielding strong programs in both boys and girls soccer. Stillwater, another takeover. And a couple of pushes between Andringa and Cameron Run Chindicone. Rosemount fans obviously wanting a call in their direction. Nothing was called, so we play on, but Stillwater not afraid to get in the faces of their opponents and at least make some contact, try to throw their opponent off their game. But Rosemount giving this team a challenge.
Pony substitution number 12, heavy floor.
Evelyn Floor returns. She'll take over for Rachel Folden with under 8 minutes to go. Again, no stoppage time since the clock counts down. Just across the border, that's not the case. They go up. And we mentioned the experience. The entire starting midfield from last year's Stillwater team returned for this year. And here's a potential chance. Shot from deep, stopped by Kniefel. Megan Howard had to take a deep strike as the pass was a little bit behind her. I think that was Notch who tried to set her up. Again, Stillwater getting a couple more chances here when you look at the shots on goal. And the Ponies playing a little keep away there. Peterson boxing out. Her assignment to keep Rosemount from taking over in an odd man situation. So the Ponies making another substitution before the goal kick.
Stillwater substitution number 6, Maddie Purdy.
And it's Maddie Purdy. Rosemount with a chance. And that shot goes wide right. Julia Shorn. Point blank. one of the cleanest looks of this game, but Rosemount not out of it yet. They'll get a corner here. They're 7th. So Cone may have gotten a piece of it. Still a dangerous moment there on the part of the Ponies. Header goes out of bounds. Runs into Cone, caught the pass, just didn't have the angle. So the tension is starting to build here at Pony Stadium. Stillwater, one of the several undefeated teams, unbeaten if you will. 2-0-1. Rosemount 2-2-0. And the teams alternating possessions on the far side of the field. That shot is wide left, and Megan Howard not pleased with herself. Thought she had a good look and didn't capitalize on it. She showcased her sprinting speed chasing down the ball, but didn't like that shot. Mike Huber believes the further this team moves along, the more opportunities she'll get to put the ball in the net. She's had a couple today. But in the closing stages, you start to see some chances develop, and this is where stamina, endurance, all of those factors come into play, toward the end, especially for the athletes that spend a considerable amount of time on the field, Essler among them. Even with unlimited substitutions, you get in quite a workout. Since you're constantly moving. Kniefel will catch up to it and tap it into Essler's hands, but Stillwater was lurking. Another one of those near misses on the part of the Ponies, and a foul is called on Essler. Essler pushing Bonilla to the turf, and a free kick coming up for the Ponies, well within striking distance for Evelyn Floor if she wishes to go directly. Rosemount setting up a wall. And we don't have those aerosol markers. Floor lobs it. Header. Goal! The goal comes in the 78th minute. Floor got the assist. We couldn't quite see who got it. Those chances slowly paid off for the Ponies. But Rosemount may have a chance to answer. They're going to get a free kick after a foul was called, and it's in position, but that goal by Floor found the backside. Essler with the kick. Cone wins the ball in the air. As we noted earlier, winning balls in the air, a huge improvement. And we just got confirmation from the fans that Hallie Peterson scored the goal, and that would, if that is true, that is her first of the year. You know, she's one of the most active players on the Stillwater roster. They try to feed her the ball, and if that really was Peterson who scored, you see why. She scored the goal that may prove to be the difference in this game, as we have just under 90 seconds to go.
Stillwater goal was scored off the corner kick by number 12, heavy floor. We will get the name of the scorer after the game.
And the offense, the fans still tried to relay. It was Hallie Peterson, number 2. You never know what you'll get here at Pony Stadium. Some amusing moments, but an ecstatic moment for Hallie Peterson getting her first goal of the year off the free kick by Evelyn Floor. And from the looks of it, that will be enough. As we mentioned at the start of the game, Mike Hubert believes that more often than not this year, 1 goal is all his Ponies team will need to get victories thanks to a strengthened defense, and we saw a couple examples of that with Evie Cohn late. But Hallie Peterson, the difference in this game. Floor picking up her first assist of the year.
10 seconds.
And with that, it will be enough to keep Stillwater unbeaten. They will go to 3-0-1. Rosemount will drop their 3rd straight.
1.
The buzzer sounds, and Stillwater wins this one in regulation, 1-0 the final. Hallie Peterson scoring the go-ahead goal, the only goal off the free kick from Evelyn Floor. You saw Stillwater winning a few more balls in the second half, and that aggression eventually paid off. So the Irish, they dropped their 3rd straight, and in their last 3 games, they have only scored 1 goal. Stillwater, they haven't scored a lot the last couple of games, but Hallie Peterson gets them a big one. And the Ponies stay unbeaten. They'll try to continue that stretch against the defending Class A state champion Matamidi on Tuesday. Rosemount will go back home a week from today to face Egan. We'll try to get a word with one of the Stillwater players before we move to the boys' game. This is high school girls soccer. Stillwater knocks off Rosemount 1-0. And I'm joined by Evie Cohn and Hallie Peterson. Evie, we'll start with you. Hallie put you up 1-0, but you had to sweat a couple of bullets there from Rosemount, especially on corners. So how were you able to put out another clean sheet today?
Yeah, I think just staying focused during the game, and especially this year we have a goalkeeper coach, so I think that's just helping me stay on my feet and just being ready for anything.
And discuss that. I know Ricky Michael did some individual instruction with you, and your head coach, Mike Hubert, told me it's made a huge difference, and so far you've had 4 games and 4 clean sheets.
Right. Yeah, I think it's helping a lot because in the past years I just kind of did stuff with the team, but I think now I'm actually doing stuff that I'm doing during the game, so it just helps me stay on top of my game and just stay fresh and stuff. Yeah.
And how gratifying is it to get that instruction, and how has that developed your game? Because I'd say not having any goals allowed through 4 is a pretty good start.
Yeah, I think just like getting feedback from different people, especially I've never been coached by Ricky before, and so he kind of sees things differently, and he like sees what I need to work on. So then at practice, he like tells me what I need to work on. We spend that practice working on that, so it helps a lot.
Hallie, this game, there was a whole lot of nothing until the closing minutes, and you saw Stillwater getting a couple shots at it. You scored off the free kick from Floor. How were you able to knock it in?
Our team's always been really good at set plays, and I think it's one of our strengths as a team. And I've always been good at heading it in, so having a player that can hit it back to me helps out a lot.
Your coach told me that the Ponies, they want to feed you the ball because you go after it. You're one of the more active players on this team. Took you a little while to get your first goal of the year, but how exciting was it to break what was a 0-0 game?
It was pretty exciting, especially being a center D. You know, I don't get many opportunities, so getting that chance to have a goal is exciting.
And then what would you make of the chemistry this year? A lot of young forwards, but an experienced center and defensive line, and I'd say that's done a lot of wonders through 4 games.
Yeah, I think we're working good together as a team. The first 3 games we did. This past game, we weren't really checking 2 on top, and we needed to work more together. But altogether, I think we're gelling together pretty well.
And then just maybe a more descriptive or more detailed breakdown of that play when you see Flora sending the ball your way. You know, with soccer, you don't necessarily plan to get headers or things like that, but when you saw you had that opportunity, what was your reaction?
Just to go for it, I guess. You know, on our club team too, I get a lot of chances to head it in, so I'm used to having the opportunity to head it in. So
the sport really is about using your head, isn't it?
yeah, yeah, it is.
So what do you make of this start? You know, 3-0-1. You've yet to drop a game, and with a defending state champion next in Matamidi, how can this feed into that game?
I just think we just need to keep working and keep our foot on the gas and just don't let off and just keep learning from our mistakes and just keep going.
Yeah, I agree with that. We just need to keep working together as a team for sure, and I think we'll have it. I think we can get pretty far this year.
You want to say hi to anybody?
Shout out to my mom and Tommy. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Mom. Hey, Dad.
And my dad.
Yes, let's not forget Dad.
Yeah. I love you, Dad.
Well, congratulations on staying unbeaten. We'll see if that continues on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So that's Evie Cohn and Hallie Peterson of the Stillwater girls. Stay tuned for the boys game coming up.